herd mentality, the we. Sometimes the we is great. Sometimes the herd mentality can lead to what we call the meme, word meaning a certain disease that grows and keeps growing. And even if the belief system is not the right one, we continue this community feel that it's, for example, a war. We think, well, yeah, America has to go to war. Do we? And there's this meme that it's important. But it may not be a meme that is good for us. So understanding, another thing that I wanted to mention is the importance of understanding what comes first, the chicken or the egg. And in this state, I want to share with you, then, what comes first? Love or wisdom? I want you to really contemplate that tonight. If you think about it, if you have all the wisdom and knowledge, and you choose not to have love, what do you have? Nothing. You can't have love. But when you have love, you can tap into wisdom, compassion, the inner self. It's something I didn't want to mention yesterday, and I thought I would keep this for a chance like today to share with you that if we acquire all the wisdom in university and there's no love with the professor or love in what we do, what's that going to do for us? So at that time in my life, I realized, okay, here I'm going to university. I decided not to continue professional soccer. I was going to go into professional soccer. My sister had passed away, which, by the way, I had 14 great years with my sibling, so there is no concern about that. Most people can't even say they had 14 great years with their sibling. I can say that. So it was great. We never left each other without, if we were angry, 20 minutes later, we'd apologize, even if I was right or wrong. It was not about fault finding. It was saying, let's choose peace. You talk about it with families. They say, you don't want to go to bed angry. One lady, she said to me, an older lady, she says, when we have a fight with my husband, after a while, I say, okay, now it's cuddling time. I said, that was so powerful. And so the point that I'm attempting to make here is nothing at all. Nothing comes from nothing, as he says. The sound of music, so profound. In those notes, between the music is that space, and in that space is still music. If we can stay in tune with that, we can understand what the importance of this inner science is about, which is, how do you change behavior? You can't change it unless you get in tune and aligned with your own inner source within you. You can have all this technology and all these ideas, but if you cannot understand that love is God and God is love, and then you can acquire this wisdom from any faith, from any technology, from any idea, whether it's the Kabbalah, the Bible, the New Testament, the Quran, doesn't matter. You can even be secular. Canada is a secular country. We have no religion. And we're still doing fine. The majority of the population that's moving now to Canada, in the North American population to Canada, is actually coming from the United States and Asia. And so the East and the West meet. We need to find the bridge between the East and the West. That bridge is so necessary. So another thing that that is important to share here is, in the trilogy, the Inner Oracle, Body, Mind, and Soul, there is one very fundamental message. Where there is the me, at some point, there is the we. But this is the we that we're talking about, the community, the interdependence. Not dependent, but interdependent. To align, to understand. Look, let me give you an example. Anyone been in the forest to build a cabin? Anyone here build a cabin? A house? Anyone build a home, their own home? Okay, so tell me, if you had no community, how are you going to build that home? You don't have a hammer, you don't have anything, and this man says, I'm just going to build my own home and that's it. I don't need the community, I'm going to do it all by myself. Oh, I see, so you don't need the shop to go get the hammers and get all the information. You're just going to build it out of stone, or what are you going to do? You can't do that. You require the interdependent relationship between the independent person that's self-actualized and also saying, wait a minute, I also need my community. The challenge here, the balancing act of this, the most important part is this. If you're just going to be independent, which in North America, we have a big problem with that. Me, 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 me. We know how to sing that opera song. Me, 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 me. We don't seem to know the one that goes, we, 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 we. Sounds like French, but it's not that we. Okay? So what is it? Interdependence. If you're just in the... I see it with my mother. I have 9 children. My mother has sacrificed her own independence for the sake of what? The children, the family. Even before, when she was young, she says, you know, we all slept in one bed. So there was no independent person. There was no individual, this is Serafina. No, it's the family. And then here comes Peter and Isabel. And she quickly learns, wow, these are independent people. Souls. They came through her, but not for her. And this is important. She realized it. One day, I was 5 years old. We moved from Montreal. We were in West Van, then we moved to Richmond. And I was going to play my first soccer game. And I had a fever. She says, oh, I don't think you should play. I'm worried. I said, no, I'm going to play. No, I don't think you should. No, I want to play. Sure enough. Hello? He said, I went. We won the game. Scored 3 goals or something like that, 5-2. It was great, great feeling. My dad wasn't there, he was working, always working even on the weekends. The challenge though is, what is in that moment as an independent person? I was playing a sport with what? A team. And you're only as strong as your weakest link. So if there's someone on your team, whether it's family, your community, and they're going through these challenges, it's important for us to find a way to strengthen their self-confidence. What I've learned is that synonymous to self-confidence is faith. When things are really difficult, Pasquale, my father, used to say, Peter, that's when the faith has to kick in. That's when you need to have the confidence that you're going to make it through this. Don't worry, it'll all work itself out. If it's not working, then it's obviously not the end either. So just keep going, keep moving forward. So when we take and apply holistic inner science, and we understand that it comes from within, we understand the importance of meditation. I've been teaching meditation for more than nearly 25 years. And I'll tell you something. I learned one fundamental lesson between the West and the East. I learned, be still and know that I am God. Well, and then on the West and the East, I said, okay, well, that's meditation. So I learned that in school. But I remember one day my friend, and I mentioned this last year, my friend and I like to have matcha green tea. It's a very common Buddhist meditative tea. And he said to me, Peter, do you know what matcha stands for? I says, no. Be still and know that I am matcha. What I'm attempting to say to you is that take this word in English on the Western point. Silence, silent, and listen have the same amount of words. Be still and listen. Be still and be silent. There's just the same words in there. Silent and listen have the same letters in it. So if I can leave you with that note, is the importance to listen to your intuition, to be still and aligned with your inner source. Because you cannot change a behavior without being aligned with your inner self. Being in tune with yourself allows you not to make the mistakes. There is no mistakes, but there is a cause and effect for everything. So if you want to change that cause, you have to look at, okay, look, if I do this, what happens? There's a cause and effect. What's the effect? Hurt myself. Now, if I take and I caress my friend's hand, Lama Margaret, and I caress her hand slightly, what is the cause and effect? We think of the people that are in jail. They have no one to be touched and loved. They need that love too. And they don't receive it. And we forget that once someone is incarcerated, we forget it doesn't just affect the person that's incarcerated. It affects all the other families. The wives, the parents, the children. It's not just that one person. So this is the point. There is no good. There is no bad. It's about tapping in and understanding that each one is an innate soul. But the one that's incarcerated has lost their clarity. But they get to spend so much time in stillness and silence that very quickly the people you see incarcerated are usually more in tune and aligned with people that are on the outside world. Because that world is its own little small world, just like the outside world. But they get so much time with themselves that they become masters of their own destiny. And so in that statement, going back to the beginning, the intro, your consciousness does affect your environment. So you are truly the creator of your own world. What you think will create your destiny. And if you don't like what you think, go back to holistic inner science and look at your belief systems. Because the belief systems are the ego. If your belief system are not aligned and in tune with the universal consciousness, then it'll be from the ego, which is ignorant, which creates so much suffering. You can find it in every book. It's the same thing. I started reading the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads at 17, a year after my sister passed, or around that time. My father introduced me to a book as well, a Western book. He says, "Oh, Peter, the parts about God, don't worry about it, just read the story." And when I went into college, I realized college was great, but it didn't help me to have a linear mind. I mean a non-linear mind. It was focused on linear. It's one thing you learn about universities, how to be disciplined. But it won't teach you how to use your non-linear mind and intertwine the body, mind, and soul. You need all three. If there's only the soul, it's not enough. If it's just about the body and earning money, that's not enough. If it's just about the mind, then you're thinking too much. So aligning all three, and this is what holistic inner science and other groups that we attend to can teach us, to go within. And this is what it's taught me. And that's my reflection for that and how important it is. And lastly, how much time do I have? 2 minutes. Sense of humor. Don't take yourself so goddamn seriously. You are not that important, and neither am I. And in the end, well, they have proven that our particles are no different than what's on the moon or what's on the planet. The same substance that's on the moon and the universe is inside of us when we're gone, and the earth. How come no one taught that in school? And lastly, and most importantly, consciousness today, they've proven, because now medical science is now starting to use energy medicine, right? And Kirlian photographs the Russians have been using for a long time. That's very important, the energy you can extract from a picture, right? But they've proven now that multi-dimensional physics, or physics itself, is not the answer now. Consciousness helps you understand physics, not the other way around. So if I can leave you with that, is that multidimensional physics, or physics itself, is not what it used to be. You go take biology, you separate all the parts, and all of a sudden you think, oh, that's fine. You can't even separate psychology, which my department when I did my master's, from spirituality, but they wanted to. You know why? They said, Peter, Bruce, the dean, said to me at City University, said, if we don't separate psychology from this spirituality, which is around for 2,000 years, psychology only for 200 years, we wouldn't have a psychology department. So I want to thank you to understand consciousness. Consciousness affects physics. And that's how we understand. Yes?
If you could, it will be great if you could add one more line. Do not take yourself so seriously, no one else does.
No one else does. That's beautiful, yeah. No one else does. That's right. That's true, they don't. And the world just doesn't care in the end. But remember, I'll leave you with this note, and last note of this is the mission and vision statement. People don't care how much I know until they know how much I care. And lastly, with families and friends, promise a lot and deliver it even more. The minute you break a promise with someone else, the worst one is breaking the promise with yourself, because then you ruin your own self-esteem. So remember, don't be hard on yourself when you do. Forgive yourself, because you can only transcend karma through forgiveness of yourself first. Then you can think of forgiving others. And this is what the reflection I have to share with you today. Thank you so much. Thank you. Namaste. God bless you.